व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 36. Tam jugupsita karmanam nrishamsam nirapatrapam vasudevaha mahabhagaha vasudevo mahabhaga uvacha parisantvayan tam jugupsita karmanam nrishamsam nirapatrapam vasudevo mahabhaga uvacha parisantvayan tam jugupsita karmanam nrishamsam nirapatrapam vasudevo mahabhaga uvacha parisantvayan. Tam onto him, Kamsa, Jugupsita Karmanam, who was ready to commit such an offensive act, Nrishamsam, very cruel, Nirapatrapam, shameless, Vasudevaha, Vasudeva, Mahabhagaha, the greatly fortunate father of Vasudeva, Uvacha said, Parisantvayan, pacifying. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhacharana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Wanting to pacify Kamsa, who was so cruel and envious that he was shamelessly ready to kill his sister, the great soul Vasudeva, who was to be the father of Krishna, spoke to him in the following words. Can you repeat the translation? Wanting to pacify Kamsa, who was so cruel and envious that he was shamelessly ready to kill his sister, the great soul Vasudeva, who was to be the father of Krishna, spoke to him in the following words. Purport. Vasudeva, who was to be the father of Krishna, is described here as Mahabhaga, a very upright and sober personality. Because although Kamsa was ready to kill Vasudeva's wife, Vasudeva remained sober and unagitated. In a peaceful attitude, Vasudeva began to address Kamsa by putting forward reasonable arguments. Vasudeva was a great personality because he knew how to pacify a cruel person and how to forgive even the bitterest enemy. One who is fortunate is never caught even by tigers or snakes. Thus ends the Bhaktivinoda purport in translation to Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 36 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Kamsa, who happened to be the brother of Devaki, took to an extreme step of killing her. And that too at the time when she newly got wedded and on her way to her husband's house. Just then Kamsa, to show his affection, took the horse's reins to drive his sister and his new brother-in-law to their home. But in a moment's time, his decision changed, and then he decided to kill his sister after hearing one unembodied voice in the sky, which proclaimed that the eighth son of your sister, meaning Kamsa's sister, that means the eighth son of Devaki, will be the cause of Kamsa's death. The moment he heard this Akashavani, Ashariravani, actually Ashariravani, his whole view towards his sister changed. Almost instantly, he gave up all affection to his sister. So this is the nature of a demoniac person, that his character is unpredictable. A demoniac person, to fulfill his purposes and plans, can act anyhow without caring for any rules and regulations and scriptural directions. A demonic person is one who is not bound by scriptural rules and regulations. He may follow scriptural regulations if it suits his plans and purposes, but he has no hesitance in rejecting the Vedic principles if it goes against his sense gratification. This is called demonic person. Therefore, when he follows the principles of dharma, one should not be carried away to think that he is a pious person. He is a dharmic person. Because dharma is suiting him, he is practicing dharma. If it does not suit his plans of sense gratification, then he will not follow. He will give up the principles of dharma. So here we see Shukadeva Goswami continue to describe the actually expected action of karma. It's not unexpected. Maybe for Vasudeva and Devaki it was unexpected. For Kamsa it is very natural. That's why Shukadeva Goswami is using the word tam jugupsitam karmanam. Tam means referring to Kamsa. Jugupsitam karmanam. He was ready to perform very abominable action. Jugupsitam means very, very dirty, abominable action. Jugupsita karmanam. Why was he eager and ready to perform such abominable activity? Because Nrishamsam by nature is very cruel. And Nirapatrapam, he is a shameless person. Demonic persons are shameless. They don't have any reputation, any honor, self-honor. self-respect, self-dignity. They don't care for any of these things. My purpose has to be met. That's all. Even at the cost of one's own reputation, dignity, respect, honor, even those things will not much bother them. If they lose also, does not matter. My purpose, my agenda, my ulterior motive has to be fulfilled. This is the nature of a demoniac person. So that's why he's being described here as Nirapatrapam, shameless, and Vishamsam basically is very cruel. See, that is why when we use the word basically is cruel, that means, see, sometimes we may become angry, but basically you're not an angry person. You may become greedy, but basically you're not a greedy person. Sometimes you may be overcome by lust. Basically, you may not be lusty by nature. But here, the nature of a demonic, nature of demon is basically they're cruel. By character, they're cruel, they're lusty, they're greedy, they're angry natured, they're envious. That is by nature. It's exactly opposite. Once a while, they may show some happiness, some kindness. See, other way around, a divine person, basically they're very nice, very kind, very tolerant, but sometimes they may lose their temper, sometimes they may lose their coolness. Demonic person is exactly 180-degree opposite. And that so-called kindness, happiness also is, as I said, we cannot be carried away and trust them. When you trust, you are finished. Envious persons you cannot trust. You should not trust. This is a principle. Envious person you should not trust. So Kamsa was so cruel, envious, and shameless. How does it reflect in his action? Wanting to kill his own sister. Therefore, onto such a condemned creature, onto him, Vasudeva. On the other hand, Vasudeva, he is described here as Mahabhaga. Kamsa is described as Jugupsita Karmanam, Vrishamsam, Nirapatrapam. Described as cruel, envious, shameless. But Vasudeva is described here as Mahabhaga, greatly fortunate, highly blessed soul, man of highest character, highest virtue, highest dharma, highest principle. Exactly opposite. So therefore, Shukadeva Goswami describing Vasudeva as, in the same words, as Mahabhaga. So wanting to pacify Kamsa, Vasudeva, the great soul, who was about to become the father of Lord Krishna, Uvacha, spoke Santvayan, Parisantvayan, spoke the following words just to pacify this demoniac Kamsa. It is such a difficult task. Chanakya Pandit says one place, there are two kinds of envious persons in this world, envious creatures in this world. Sarpa Krurat Kalak Krurat. Krura, the same word, cruel or envious, it also means envious. Sarpa Krura. Snakes are considered envious creatures. By nature, they're envious. Therefore, you can see, you may be passing on the street, they just try to raise their hopes. They may bite you for no reason and poison you for no reason. You might not have harmed a snake, but it will. Same thing with a dog. You may be just walking on the street, passing by the side of a dog, and the dog may be in somebody else's compound. You're not trying to attack the dog, but still the dog will start barking. So offensive nature of the dog. You've not done any harm, little bark. So this is the nature of envious beings. Sometimes Shastras describe such envious persons sometimes become dogs or snakes to continue their nature of enviousness. unfortunately. So, Sarpa Krurat, snake is envious by nature, not once a while, not because of circumstance or situation. Character is like that. Sarpa Krurat, Kala Krurat, Kalaha means human being, an envious human being. So, snake is envious, human being is envious. This is what Chanakya Pandit is saying. So, two kinds of envious beings are there. Sarpa Krurat, Kala Krurat, Mantraushadi Vasha Sarpat. How to deal with these envious creatures? First thing Chanakya says, Mantraushadi Vasha Sarpat. Through mantra, you can actually bring the snake, envious snake under control. It's possible, we have seen that. Actually, you can tame the snake through mantras. You can pacify the snake through mantras. Mantroshid Vasha Sarpat. Halakena Nivaryate. But Chanakya Pandit is saying, but if a man becomes envious, how can you pacify him? His envy cannot be pacified. That we can see here. Kamsa, being envious towards his sister, wanted to kill her. Till Vasudeva is described as Mahabhaga is so great, even an impossible task, he has taken it up. To impossible task of pacifying Kamsa. The purport Prabhupada explains three important points about the dealings of a great soul, expertise of a great soul in dealing such complex situations. What is that? First of all, Vasudeva, Prabhupada says, remain sober and unagitated. It's the quality of a Mahabhaga. The Kamsa was agitated when he heard the Akashavani, Ashariravani, that he is going to get killed. He is going to get killed in the future, not that time. But Devaki's death was imminent right there. Till Devaki was not agitated and Vasudeva was not agitated. See, Kamsa's death in the future, 8th child, at least 8 to 9 years. Still he became unsettled. So much agitated that he wanted to kill her. But the imminent danger is for Devaki, she is not disturbed. And the husband who just got married to Devaki, he is not agitated. So Prabhupada is saying, Vasudeva remained sober and unagitated. And in a peaceful attitude. You can see Shamaha, Damaha, quality of a Brahmana, Vasudeva, applying. He's not applying, that is Vasudeva's nature. Naturally, he is a peaceful soul, sober soul, unagitated soul. He knows how to deal complex situations very effectively and efficiently. So in a peaceful attitude, Vasudeva began to address Kamsa, first of all, by putting forth reasonable arguments. That will be described in the following verses. What all arguments he has used patiently to somehow convince Kamsa that immediately there is no danger for you. Don't worry. So please don't harass your sister and don't take this extreme step towards your sister at the time of her marriage. She just got newly married. Then Prabhupada says Vasudeva was a great personality because Mahabhaga, because he knew how to pacify a cruel person. Kali Yuga, you can see by and large, people are Rajasic and Tamasic, and that the more Rajoguna and Tamoguna increases, more anger, more cruelty, more mercilessness, no consideration, no forgiveness, no forbearing nature, all these things will increase. That's why Bhagavatam 12th canto describes 8 things reduce in Kali Yuga, the very first chapter. In that, kindness, tolerance, mercy are the 3 qualities connected to this verse. First of all, he begins with by saying dharma. Anudinam nangshyati. Every day it reduces. First of all, dharma reduces day by day. Then he goes on to explain other 7 things. Yeah, Krishna Balaram Gonitai Prabhupada. So other 3 things which I wanted to point out is kindness, mercy, then tolerance comes down in Kali Yuga. So Vasudeva was expert in pacifying such cruel persons. Then he knows how to forgive even the bitterest enemy. There's another quality of a Mahabhaga. He knew how to forgive even the bitterest enemy. And Prabhupada also concluded the purport interestingly by saying, one who is fortunate is never caught even by tigers or snakes. Actually referred to Kamsa. How Vasudeva, how Devaki was so fortunate that she escaped Kamsa's wrath, was compared to tiger and snake. See, when you can just imagine, suppose the tiger has already caught you. Is there any case in history the tiger is left after catching its prey? You can see here. Kamsa has caught Devaki, but still Devaki escaped unharmed. Have you seen anywhere a snake, after foiling somebody, has not done anything to that person? Nowhere in the history it is there like that. We can see Mother Devaki has come into the grip of Kamsa till she came out unaffected, unharmed. So wonderful. So one who is fortunate is never caught even by tigers or snakes. We will discuss this little later. There are many such instances. So to practice Krishna consciousness demands a great amount of tolerance, forbearance, kindness, compassion, all these things. Otherwise, it is very difficult to practice Krishna consciousness in this world, and especially in Kali Yuga. So that is why Prahalad Maharaj has made a very nice statement. In the 7th canto, Prahalad Maharaj says, Prayene Deva Munaya Swavimukti Kama Maunam Charanti Vijane Na Parartha Nishtha Naitan Vihaya Kripanan Vimumuksha Eko Nanyam Tvadasya Sharanam Brahmato Anupashye. So Prahalad Maharaj is saying here, Prayena Deva Munaya. There are some saintly persons who go to Himalayas. Deva Munaya, saintly persons, rishis, Swavimukti Kamaha, desiring their own liberation. Swavimukti Kama. So desiring their own liberation, they go to Himalaya. That's why they do tapas, austerity. And people also are very much moved by those extreme level of austerities by some sadhus, some saintly persons, some rishis, some munis, some yogis. They highly appreciate such tapas. But as far as Prahlad Maharaj is concerned, he is not appreciative of such great tapas of these great yogis, munis and tapasvis in the Himalayas, who are undergoing so much trouble, pain, heat, cold, fasting, not sleeping. Nothing great. Swavimukti Kama. They are desiring their own liberation. So Prahlad Maharaj says they are also selfish. They are also selfish, aspiring for their own liberation. And they Maunam Charanti Vijane. They also take up Vrata. Many Vratas like silence, Mauna Vrata, Maunam Charanti. They practice Mauna Vrata. All these things to increase their piety, aiming towards their own liberation. Therefore, it is with a selfish motive. Na para artha. They are not concerned about others' welfare. Naitan vihaya kripanan vimumuksha ekaha. Vihaya kripanan, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, but my Lord, as far as I am concerned, vihaya kripanan, I cannot give up the foolish people in this world. Kripana, miserly people in this world. Nanyam Twadasya Sharanam Brahmato Anupashya. They're bewildered by material life, by so many material entanglements, by material distractions. They're bewildered and caught up in the cycle of birth and death. And they're also embarrassed by many material situations, material complexities, material embarrassed by many material perplexities. So, leaving aside all these ignorant, foolish people who don't know that they're suffering and yet think they're happy, giving up all these foolish people, I cannot come to you, my Lord. I want to deliver all the foolish creatures, human beings in this, especially human beings in this world. I want to deliver all of them. I want to be with them and impress them about Krishna consciousness, about taking shelter of your lotus feet, make them your devotees, and come to you along with all of them. Like that. So, this is the nature of a sadhu, a real sadhu. He wants to be with the people in this world and suffer all kinds of difficulties and preach Krishna consciousness. You can see Prabhupada, for example, when this was in 1975, Prabhupada was flying from Kenya to South Africa. And there were two more devotees traveling with Prabhupada. One was Prabhupada's secretary and one more was Prabhupada's assistant. So Prabhupada's secretary at that time was Pushta Krishna Maharaj, the well-known devotee. And so when the flight took off, one football team had got into the plane. It was a South African football team. And just then they had won the match. So they were in very high spirits. They just won the football match, national level. So then one stewardess came, and then she served drinks to everybody. Actually, it is all, international airlines. So they give wine and all these kind of things and all. So she was just serving some drinks to them, and they were so happy that they started smoking cigarette in the plane, while it was actually objectionable. So Pushta Krishna Maharaj became very irritated and upset, and so he told the stewardess to tell these people to stop smoking cigarette. So then she went and told them, and then they stopped smoking cigarette for the time being. Because Prabhupada is sitting right there. But because first of all, they were in high spirits of winning the match. Secondly, they were also drunk. They were intoxicated. So in few minutes after that, again they picked up one more cigarette and started smoking. Because they were drunk, you see. They're not in sane condition. This time, Pushta Krishna Maharaj became very angry. And he got up and he was about to, go and then combat with them, have a heated argument with them. Pushta Krishna Maharaj was very heavily built body he has got, and he was very strong and very heavy. All Western devotees, very heavy. So he was, with full force, he got up from his seat and about to go to this football crew and tell them to stop this smoking. Prabhupada just lifted his face, stared at Pushta Krishna Maharaj and said, "Please sit down." Prabhupada said, "But Prabhupada," Prabhupada said, "what is the difference between us and them? We could tolerate the cigarette smoke. They're not in the position of tolerating anything, but we can tolerate. So let us tolerate." So let that Prabhupada, he cooled him down. So you can see how under what circumstances actually Prabhupada, went and preached this Krishna consciousness, taking very peculiar, unbearable austerities. For a saintly person to be with smokers, drunkards, womanizers, meat eaters, it's actually hellish. Imagine when somebody smokes next to you, how unbearable it is, isn't it? And Prabhupada had to sit for a 1 hour, 1.5 hour drive in the flight, and these people are smoking. Prabhupada tolerated. First time when Prabhupada landed in US, and then, of course, landed in Boston, then he went to Philadelphia. There he stayed in one house of one of his known acquaintances from India, who referred him to stay in so-and-so's house called Sally Agarwal. Although they're from Agarwal family, supposed to be pure vegetarians. Somehow, when you go to the West, you give up all your good habits. It happens because of association and the culture there, all these things. So even though you may not be meat eater and you may not be a drunkard, you will become meat eater, drunkard, etc. if you're not careful. So, so Prabhupada was staying in this Sally Agarwal's house, and he was cooking his own food. They gave him some place to cook his own food. And Prabhupada used to keep his vegetables in the fridge. A common fridge, Sally Agarwal's house. So he's only a guest in their house. So Prabhupada's vegetables and the host's vegetables and all the right, whatever they want, their eatables used to be in the fridge. So one day, when they were not there, Prabhupada opened the fridge in his routine way to begin his cooking. And he was about to take his vegetables out. And suddenly he recognized that there was also meat kept in the fridge. So Prabhupada just tolerated, closed his eyes, picked up his vegetable and cooked and offered to Krishna, took his prasadam. So like this, he had to stay with the guests like that, who was having meat. This was, there's one more instance where he was much, much early. This in 1920, somewhere in 1920s. Prabhupada just got married. And he was moving to Jagannath Puri that time. And one of his friend had referred, actually, in Bengal, Prabhupada had one tenant in his house. That tenant referred, because Prabhupada was going to Jagannath Puri, so he referred to his brother-in-law who was staying in Puri. You can go and stay there, no issue, for some days. So on his recommendation, he goes and stays there. And when he was staying there, the guest was very, very happy to have a honored guest like Prabhupada, because this tenant from Bengal had given a brief about Prabhupada to his brother-in-law. That is a very, very great saint, highly learned devotee, like that and all, very respectable, very pure Vaishnava. He had given a good report on Prabhupada. So he was very glad and very happy to receive Prabhupada. Lot of respect, honor, good hospitality. So Prabhupada was very happy. He didn't expect, just got married. He didn't expect much. Then he wanted to also serve him nice food. So he began his serving nice food to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was eating. Then suddenly he observed in one pot, there was something like a ball actually. And then he served that also. Then he said, "What is this item? I have never seen this kind of item," like that he said. And Prabhupada was about to eat. He said, "Prabhupada, this is meat." The Prabhupada laughed. "Oh, I see. So you're serving me meat? Oh, yes, yes, it is very nice. And you are my honored guest. You must eat this. You must eat this." Prabhupada laughed. So this is the situation. So like this, in the course of preaching, Prabhupada had to face so many, kinds of situations, very, very intolerable actually, very agitating actually. But still he tolerated to show compassion. Karunya. Otherwise, if the pure devotee does not show compassion, how will the conditioned soul be blessed and advance in Krishna consciousness? When Prabhupada was staying in Bovary Street, the most dangerous, not even place, the most dangerous street in the world, well known to everyone in the world actually. The most dangerous street in the world is, you know what? Which one? Bovary Street, Lower East Side, New York. The most dangerous street in the world. And Prabhupada lived there in one room, in that same street. And we all know that from Prabhupada's Prabhupada Leelamrita. And he's a lonely sannyasi and an old man. Imagine. And the most dangerous street. Drug addicts, alcoholics. It is their place of residence. Chronic drug addicts and alcoholics. Serious alcoholics. Practically 24 hours, their eyes will be rolling only. Like that they are. So, Prabhupada would go for preaching or some Sankirtan, in the Tompkins Square Park, he would go and do Kirtan and come back. 4 hours he would do Kirtan, he would come back. And when he would come back, these people who were drugged and serious alcoholics, the hippies, they would lie there right in front of Prabhupada's house, Prabhupada's room rather, just next to the door, lying there, sleeping, naked, because they have no sense. They're indifferent to everything. They have no consciousness. As I said, all the time they're intoxicated, eyes are rolling, always in intoxicated state. The very sobriety you just said. And they would pass stool and urine also in the same place, sleeping for 48 hours, 52 hours in the same place, without getting up. Devotees have recorded these things, who used to meet Prabhupada. These are not some stories. Imagine how bad, filthy smell will be there. Prabhupada would tolerate all of that and get into his room and do his seva. Then, right in front of the entrance, they would sleep. So how are you supposed to enter the house? Generally, you cannot cross a person. Actually, you should not step over anything. Even broomstick, you should not step over, they say. That's how we are taught. Even broomstick, you should not step over. Or to speak of a person, they will just lie right there in front of that, we say vaskal. I know what is it called in English? The entrance to the house. The doorway to the house, basically. Right there he will sleep. And how is Prabhupada supposed to go? So very kindly, Prabhupada, without disturbing them, waking him up, he would, quietly move him and then go inside and come and do his work. Like this, Prabhupada tolerated. How much amount of tolerance? When devotees were imprisoned in Russia and in many Western countries, they were jailed for doing street sankirtan, for printing books on Bhagavad Gita, to make a person saintly, to make him a devotee of God. They somehow take it as a danger and they would try to imprison the devotees. And still, when devotees would write what they should do under such situations, so Prabhupada never suggested do agitation in the prison house or do dharna. He said just continue chanting Hare Krishna. Continue chanting Hare Krishna in the jail. Our business remains the same, whether inside the jail or outside the jail. You chant Hare Krishna. And the devotees would continue chanting Hare Krishna and even preach to the inmates there. You also chant Hare Krishna to the others. Like that. How tolerant they were in executing Krishna consciousness. So, like that we can see in a pure devotee like Vasudeva or like Prabhupada, these qualities naturally manifest in their personality. So, how to deal with cruel people. And lastly, we talked about how one who's fortunate never caught by even tigers and snakes. We can actually see in the life of Haridas Thakur. We know the story Haridas Thakur when he was doing his japa in a cave. Almost 23 and a half hours he would do japa every single day. 23 and a half hours he would do japa. About 192 rounds Hare Krishna mantra he would do japa. We are told to chant 16 rounds, that also we don't do. So Haridas Thakur would chant 192 rounds every single day. Half an hour to 1 hour max for his sleeping, brushing, bathing, prasadam, everything, whatever he has to do, ablutions, half an hour to 1 hour maximum. Again, next day, 192 rounds commitment. So, many devotees would come to see Haridas Thakur, seek his blessings. But suddenly, they stopped visiting Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur wondered. Then he asked one person, why nowadays people are not coming? Then they said, actually, Thakurji, for your information, there is a snake in the cave staying along with you. Haridas Thakur was in the cave. Snake is also, there was a python, not a snake. A python was residing in the cave along with Haridas Thakur. It has somehow gone inside. Haridas Thakur does not even know. He's absorbed so much in the japa. A snake comes, we'll continue our japa. That was Haridas Thakur's japa quality. He does not know that snake is residing and days are passing. See his japa quality, his absorption in the japa. Then Haridas Thakur thought, oh really? So Thakurji, they're actually afraid of this python. Then Haridas Thakur thought, oh, I see. Okay. Then we should not disturb the snake, the python. Haridas Thakur thinking, you see. He didn't think that python was a disturbance. He thought, I am a disturbance to python because the python is supposed to stay in the cave only. Why I have gone to the cave disturbing the python's residence? Let me move away, let the python remain there. Why should I disturb the python? And Haridas Thakur was prepared, about to get up and go away. Just then when Haridas Thakur was thinking like this and sharing this plan, the python quietly in front of everyone slithered away, went away. People were surprised. There was one more instance. This was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling in the Jharikanda forest. He took one assistant, Govinda, with him. And in the Jharikanda jungle, today there is a Jharikand state also being carved out in India. There is Jharikand state. It's the exact state where this Leela of Lord Chaitanya going in the jungle and then, doing all kinds of miracles and wonderful things. So, by chance, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happened to touch a tiger with his leg. The tiger was sleeping that time. The tiger roared in its sleeping condition. He was still continuing to sleep, but because somebody has touched him, the tiger roared heavily. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not agitated. He looked at the tiger and said, you sleeping tiger, get up! Chant Hare Krishna. Like that. And dance. And the tiger got up, started chanting and dancing. So, just before that, the assistant thought, because when the tiger roared, he thought we are finished. But actually nothing happened. And last instance, there was one great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by name Saranga Thakur. He was staying in Mamagachi in Navadvip Dham. He was so great, he's completely out of bodily concept, totally a divine spiritual personality. Entire body is spiritual, completely spiritualized. So it is described about him. Very interesting. He settled in Modadruma Dvipa, one of the 9 Dvipas. It's also called Mamagachi Grama. He's also called Murari Chaitanya Das. Later on became known as Saranga Thakur. So he had no material bodily features, completely spiritual. So he would sometimes chase tigers in the jungle and treat them like cats and dogs. He would slap at the cheek of a tiger like this. And he would take a venomous snake on his lap and play with it. This is how he dealt with tigers and snakes. He had no fear absolutely of his external body, of which he was completely forgetful. So the Prabhupada makes a statement here. Those who are fortunate are never caught even by tigers or snakes. If you're blessed by Krishna, there is nothing of danger for you in this world or in all the three worlds. One who is fortunate always escapes all dangers in life by the grace of Krishna. So Mother Devaki also escaped similarly by the grace of Vasudeva, her devoted husband. So the grace of Krishna or a pure devotee like Prabhupada, actually you can be free from all kinds of dangers. That is why taking shelter of Prabhupada is so important. Just like because Vasudeva sheltered Devaki, she was saved from the hands of tigers and snake like Kamsa. So similarly, from the tiger and snake like Maya and material situations, we can be completely in a safe condition if we take shelter of a pure devotee like Vasudeva or Srila Prabhupada. And we can actually feel that how we are so happy and peaceful after coming to ISKCON and taking shelter of Prabhupada and following Prabhupada's teachings and instructions, at least trying to follow them, how much we are saved, we are peaceful, we become happy. So many dangers we are saved from. It is a fact. We'll stop here. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.